Hey you guys, welcome back to For Real Guide. Hope you're all having an absolutely incredible day. I'm having a really good start to the day because I'm super excited about this video. It's a topic that means a lot to me because I have a lot of ties to this topic. I've struggled with this a lot. And basically what this video is going to be about is telling you guys some signs that you might be lacking self-love. So why is self-love so important? Well, I believe it's super critical because it really is the catalyst for our physical, mental, and emotional well-being. It's how we determine if we're really, really proud of who we are, where we are, what we're doing. It really plays a factor in how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. Self-love can stop us from worrying so much about the future or dwelling so much in the past. And a lot of people truly believe that self-love really is the key to happiness. Now you might be wondering, does this even apply to me? Do I really have a problem with self-love? Or is there, other factors in my life? And when I was doing the research and creating this list of the 8 most common signs of lacking self-love, I started to look inwardly at myself and notice, hey, honestly, I don't love myself as much as I thought I did. And there are some things that I need to work on. So if you're wondering if you have maybe some self-love problems, stay tuned. I'm going to go over the 8 most common signs you might be lacking self-love. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first sign you might be lacking self-love is if you have a fear of being perceived or judged by others. If you go to a social outing or work or really anywhere and you're super hyper-focused on how you're being perceived, or you always have that little voice inside your head saying, oh my gosh, they're judging me for this, they're judging me for that, they're perceiving me wrong, you might have a problem with self-love. Because it makes sense. If you don't love yourself for who you are, you're probably going to assume that other people are judging you like how you judge yourself and aren't going to love you for who you are either. Something to note is that people are not focused on you, not thinking about you nearly as much as you think they are. A lot of times we think that the spotlight is on us because, our world is our reality. However, people are doing their own things. And even if someone does think something you do is a little bit different, they truly don't care, I'm telling you, as much as you think they do. So next time you get a little bit insecure and you think you're being overly judged or perceived in the wrong way, try to just shake it off and try to tell yourself, honestly, they don't care as much as I think they do. So the second sign you might be lacking some self-love is if you are always overanalyzing your behavior. So because you're always overanalyzing yourself and you're hyper aware of who you are and your behavior, you're always going to pinpoint some things you don't like about yourself. You might start to label these traits as negative, and you might start to analyze yourself and then analyze all the other people in your life too, and start comparing yourself to others. You might start to say, oh, their traits are good, my traits are bad. This lack of self-love leads you to believe that everything is black and white, that some people have good traits and maybe you only have bad traits. And this trap can really make you super confused because you're always comparing yourself to other people and will never feel good enough. But the truth is that things aren't black and white and that everyone is uniquely their own self. Everyone has different capabilities. You have different capabilities that other people think are amazing and honestly probably want to be more like you. The third sign you're lacking self-love is if you consistently feel inferior. If you lack self-love, you're always going to feel inferior and you're always going to overanalyze and compare yourself to others. And comparing yourself to others is totally a trap to making yourself feel bad. You might start to say things like, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not cool enough. And these are always going to lead you astray from a positive self-love journey. Honestly, there's been a lot of people that I've seen in my life or people that I've seen, on social media who really portray themselves in a super, super high way. And if you start to literally portray yourself as I am the best at whatever, or I am pretty enough, I am smart enough, literally you're convincing yourself and you're also convincing other people because that energy radiates and other people will pick up on that and believe it too. The fourth sign you're lacking self-love is if you hide your true self from others. When you don't love yourself completely, you expect that other people are also not going to love you completely. So a lot of times what you might do is put on this mask where you're basically mimicking other people's behaviors because you think that's what is good. But when you do this, you're starting to seek affirmation and validation for these traits that might not even be true to you. You might be masking your true self and then be getting validation for those attributes that you're starting to pick up on, starting to mirror. And it's never going to lead you to a true version of yourself. It's never going to make you love your real self. You should always stay true to yourself and the right people will follow. If you're constantly putting on this mask, you're going to attract people that maybe also are putting on a mask and aren't true to themselves, or you're being pulled to these other people who, aren't really like you and aren't going to even be a good influence necessarily. The fifth sign you're lacking self-love is if you're constantly way too hard on yourself. So theoretically, if you're going out of your comfort zone, you're getting a lot of success with your job, you have an amazing significant other, you have great friends, you should be happy, right? You should feel fulfilled. But what happens if the answer is no? That might be an indication that you lack self-love. What happens when you lack self-love is that nothing is good enough because you're always analyzing these bad traits about yourself. And no matter what success you have, you're literally always going to think, oh, I need to do this project. I need to do better. I need to, have better friends, have better experiences. But when you truly, truly love yourself, honestly, even if everything goes wrong, even if you don't have success or you lose your job or you lose your significant other or your friends, you're still going to feel secure because you love yourself regardless. A lot of people get stuck in this trap that if I do more, if I do better, then I will love myself. But honestly, we've got it all backwards. It's honestly the opposite. It's that if you love yourself fully and completely, you will always be happy because you won't care about, if certain things go wrong. You're not really going to beat yourself up so much if you do lose your job or you do lose your significant other. Think about it this way. Let's say your significant other gained 10 pounds or they lost their job or they decided to drop out of school, whatever, something bad happened. You're probably going to say, I love you, babe. No matter what, it's okay. I'm still here for you. It doesn't matter that much. We're gonna get through it and we'll have success. But think inwardly, do you actually do that to yourself? Do you actually live by those words? Or are you someone who, when you do gain 10 pounds or lose your job, beat yourself up and say, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. I could have done so much better. You should treat yourself how you're treating your significant other or, your friends. Because bottom line, the only relationship that truly matters is the one you have with yourself. So you should really be treating yourself with the most kindness, the most understanding. And honestly, this is a concept that I've struggled with for years. I am such a perfectionist. I'm way too hard on myself. But something that I have found really helps is anytime I feel low, anytime I feel like I'm not successful, I'm not doing enough or whatever, I convince myself that nothing really matters. That we're on this world for 0.2 seconds and nothing really matters. There's been so many times where I've had heartache or, trouble with school or got fired from my job, and guess what? I made it out alive and I've had so many other successes and so much love in my life after all of those failures. It's also important to stay grounded in yourself, to know that literally everything you need is already within you. The sixth sign you lack self-love is if you are underconfident. If you're someone who often feels like you're reserved or you don't really like to go out of your comfort zone or voice your opinion when you want to say something, you might be lacking self-love. Because if you truly love yourself, you're not going to care what you say or, the crazy goals that you try to reach. Because you know that if you do have some sort of failure, if it does go wrong, that you're gonna be there for yourself and love yourself regardless. However, you're going to miss out on so many amazing opportunities if you continue to do this. You might be in a work meeting and have an awesome idea, but literally be so scared to say it because you think, oh my gosh, if I have this failure, I'm gonna feel so down, I'm gonna feel so stupid. This could be the idea that gets you a promotion. Let's say you wanna move to a new state and you're really scared that you're gonna fail and that people are going to laugh at you, and that's too much for you to handle because you don't have the self-love to pick yourself up after a failure. But moving to that new state could bring you a world of amazing opportunities, a plethora of friends, an amazing job. You have no idea. So because of your self-love leading to your underconfidence, you are limiting your exciting life that you could be living. The seventh sign you might be lacking self-love is if you constantly have unstable relationships. Since you have a lack of self-love and you're really self-critical, always feel like you're being judged or like you're gonna say the wrong thing, you might not want to go out and see your friends as much. You might not want to talk to that person and try to get their number as much because you're not confident. You might even start to think that people are too good for you, or that, I don't deserve that significant other. I don't deserve those friends. They're way better than me. I'm just gonna stay in my safe place and dwell in the negative. I think we've all done this once or twice. This can lead to some really unstable relationships, and I've definitely had some experience in this area because there's been times where I feel super insecure about myself in my friendships or with my significant other. And I pick fights because I bring things up. I might say, hey, do you still love me? Or, hey, why are you mad at me? Or, you went on a trip and you didn't invite me. Is it because you hate me? You think it's all about you because you're so overly analytical about yourself. But a lot of times, it has nothing to do with you. A lot of times, your friends love you for just who you are. If they were mad at you, if they wanted to break up with you, they would tell you. And so you might be picking these fights or starting these complications for absolutely no reason. So the eighth and final sign you might be lacking self-love is if you're always settling for less. Because you lack self-love and you're underconfident, you're always going to be playing it safe probably. A lot of times you can achieve amazing success just by getting out of your comfort zone. But if you always are feeling insecure, you're never going to do that. Your lack of self-love makes you feel like you are a failure no matter what you do. So a lot of times you might play it safe because you know that you'll win if you play it safe. You stick to the easy things that you're always going to get. Maybe this means only applying for certain colleges that you know you'll get into, because if you shoot for that big one and you don't get in, it's going to really, really hurt your self-esteem. You might date people that are beneath you or become friends with people that aren't good influences because it's safe and it feels like a win because it was something that you were gonna get regardless if you try. That being said, not everything in life is automatically going to be a failure. There's a really good chance that everything can work out exactly how you want it to. You just gotta put yourself out there and be confident that you're going to be able to pick up the pieces if you have a failure. But a lot of the times you won't even have that failure. So I think it's definitely worth shooting for the moon. And even if you miss, you'll land among the stars and you're a star. So just to wrap it up, self-love is so important. It really is the determining factor of how we perceive ourselves and the entire world. So if you want to have a more chill, happy, positive existence, you need to work on your self-love. Because a lot of times if we lack self-love, we turn to those safe things or even those numbing, really unhealthy habits that fill the void of your lack of self-love. Things like alcohol, things like drugs, things like being in bad relationships or bad friendships. Just remember one thing: self-love takes practice. I have been trying to work on myself and improve my self-love for the last 3 years actively, and I'm still trying to work through things, and I'm still trying to be the best version of myself. So it really does take baby steps. Don't beat yourself up because you have some problems with self-love, because I promise you it will get better. I care about each and every one of you, truly, because I respect people who are trying to work on themselves and have a better quality of life, be a more positive, happy person for themselves and for others. And you've shown me that you really are trying to work on that by watching this video. So I really commend you for that, and I really respect you. That being said, go ahead and click like and go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Because the more people we get into this little community of self-love warriors and, this little community of people trying to better ourselves, we're going to create a wave, no matter how big or small. We're going to create a wave, and we're going to make changes in this world because we are bettering ourselves and having a more positive existence. Well, I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. That's it, and I will see you in the next one.